This is our Group 5 King of Coffee design project video from Alyssa Haygood, Tiana Wing, and Evan Chen. So first we have our process flow diagram and our mass balance. So in our process flow diagram, we use the roaster and we put 120 grams of the green Guatemalan beans in, which gave us 102.5 roasted beans. And then for this design project, we grinded 20 grams of the roasted beans at a grind size of 20, and we used a clever dripper with 300 grams of water at 94 degrees Celsius per trial. We did 4 in total, and that gives us about 54.6 grams of waste and evaporation loss of 4 grams. And each brew was set for 3 minutes and 15 seconds. And we got about 274 grams each time. And our mass balance is calculated as so, with the water in 300, coffee in 20 grams, out brew was the 274, and then wet spin was the wet grounds that came out, and the evaporation, which is a total of 320 grams. Our initial coffee bean and measurement. So when we brewed our coffee from the lab roasted our coffee, we did roast setting of 999, and the energy was 0.23 kilowatt hour. And the energy roast per gram, we divided that by the amount of roasted in total, which gave us this number. And then the total roast energy, we divided that number by our total amount of grams we used in total for this whole thing, which was 20 times 4, which is 80. And that gave us this energy. And for the start of our trials, we first identified the beans, which was the Guatemalan beans that we want to use, weighed 20 grams each, and then started the brewing process. And we grind it in the grinder, size 20, and put the coffee filter in the grinds into it and weighed out the water. And the water energy use was 300 grams per. The initial water temperature was 24 degrees Celsius, and the final temperature was 94 degrees Celsius. And the energy overall used for this was 0.24, which is from heating the water. And we used the energy meter to do this, and it was a total of 1,200 grams of water overall. Brewing and filtration, we extracted it after 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and collected the final cup, which was subtracted by the carafe here, and that gave us a total of 942 grams in total. Our mass balance again in final brew collection. So the final brew is 942.5, and this is the total energy used, which we used from what we found from the roast and the energy from the water, and that gave us 0.42 essentially. And our TDS was measured 0.61, and our PE was 0.719. And our taste evaluations, these are the overall taste evaluations of how we felt. We said ours was the best, but yes. And here's our final score. We got 3rd place overall, and I think what we could do better is not have it as watery, because that was our issue, is it was too watered down. And to preserve energy, we did as best as we could. Maybe our calculations of how much overall water we could use and stuff, but yes.